2023 FIFA Women's World Cup Preview, Group E. The striker is previewing all 8 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup groups in advance of the tournament's July 20th opener. Group E features the defending champs from the United States and 2019 runners-up Netherlands, plus Portugal and Vietnam. Netherlands. FIFA Ranking 9. Women's World Cup History. It wasn't until 2015 that the Netherlands qualified for its first Women's World Cup. A respectable round of 16 appearance ultimately resulted in a 2-1 defeat to eventual finalists Japan. The seeds of that team developed to be a bit of a golden generation. And in 2019, under the aforementioned Sarina Wiegman, the Dutch went all the way to the final, only to then lose 2-0 to the United States. Jill Roord, Danielle van de Dunk, Sharita Spitz, Stephanie van der Graagt and Lieke Mertens, from those 2015 and 2019 teams, all returned for their third consecutive run at a world title. However, an ACL injury rules out the nation's record goalscorer Vivianne Miedema. When it comes to the big matches, no one is quite sure who will take on the responsibility of scoring the goals for the Orange this summer. But recent 4-1 and 5-0 wins over Poland and Belgium respectively show the shooting boots of this squad appear to be in decent nick. Player to watch. After a successful half-decade or so, the next generation of Dutch stars are starting to push through into the national team, especially 19-year-old Esme Brugts. The PSV Eindhoven attacker only made her debut for the senior Dutch national team in February 2022. But she grabbed the spotlight in September of that year when she came off the bench to score the winning goal in a 1-0 victory over Iceland. It was that result clinched Holland's place at the 2023 World Cup. The rumor mill is suggesting that many top European clubs are swooping in to sign Brugts from PSV this summer. A strong display in Australia, New Zealand, and the teenager will be able to choose any club she wants. Portugal. FIFA Ranking 21. Women's World Cup History. Another World Cup debutante. This is one of two from Europe, the other being Ireland. After finishing second in their UEFA qualifying group, Portugal headed off to the World Cup playoffs in February 2022. The Seleção das Quinas took care of Cameroon 2-1 in dramatic fashion. With Portugal 1-0 up, Ajara Nichout equalized in the 88th minute for the Africans. But a Carol Costa penalty in the 4th minute of stoppage time booked a first-ever World Cup appearance for the Portuguese. Head coach Francisco Neto is the longest-serving head coach of any at this summer's tournament. He took charge of the team in 2014 and has led them to qualify for their first-ever Euros appearances in 2017 and 2022 as well. It's taken a fair amount of time, but Portugal are starting to look like a threat to the European women's soccer establishment. Player to watch. If it's skills and tricks you want, then keep an eye on Jessica Silva. Few players can match the Benfica forward for close control and problem-solving in tight spaces. If there's ever a chance to nutmeg, she'll take it. Space above your head and behind you? Perhaps a rainbow flick. Young fans across the world will watch Silva play and then spend hours trying to mimic her moves in the back gardens and local parks. Will she score the goals to fire Portugal through to the next round, though? The winger turned forward has mostly started up front in Neto's hybrid 4-4-2. With just 4 goals in her past 19 Portugal appearances. During 2022-23, she'll need to be more efficient in front of goal. United States. FIFA Ranking 1. Women's World Cup History. Let's start at the beginning, then, shall we? The 4-time winners took home the inaugural 1991 World Cup, a home tournament in 1999, and now arrive in Australia, New Zealand off winning consecutive trophies in 2015 and 2019. Their domination is unprecedented. The next closest nation in WWC titles is Germany with 2. Former head coach Jill Ellis, who guided the USA through the 2015 and 2019 tournaments, stepped down from her role immediately following the previous World Cup. That means that Vlatko Andonovski will be embarking on his first World Cup as head coach. After a muddled performance at the 2021 Olympics, where the Yanks struggled but still brought home bronze, there are doubts over whether he will be given another tournament at the helm. His contract will expire at the end of 2023. Despite a slew of injuries taking out plenty of veterans and household names on the U.S. women's national team, the sheer depth of talent available to the Americans means this squad is still the favorite to win it all. The chasing pack has most definitely caught up to the #1 ranked nation in recent years, but there's also an argument to be made that this is the best group of young players the USA has ever produced. Player to watch. There are so many quality players to choose from. It's never easy to steal the spotlight away from Megan Rapinoe, who recently announced she would be retiring from soccer at the end of the season. One also cannot miss the 20-foot statue of Alex Morgan dressed as the Statue of Liberty that Fox Sports is currently toting across the country. But this summer, these veterans might be playing second fiddle to the next generation of U.S. superstars. Trinity Rodman, still just 21, has seen her role on this team has got a significant boost since a knee injury ruled out Mal Swanson. The Washington Spirit player is an underrated defensive forward, matching work rate with smart anticipation to hassle her opponents into submission. She's brave on the ball, physical and canny at knowing when to take a touch into space or when to strike early. Vietnam. FIFA ranking 32. Women's World Cup history. Going where no Vietnam team has gone before, the Golden Star Warriors will feature in their first ever World Cup this summer. The East Asians are coming into the tournament hot. In 2022, they tied their best ever finish 6th and made a quarter-final appearance at an Asia Cup. Then, in May 2023, they won gold at the Southeast Asian Games. After an organized performance in a friendly 2-1 defeat to Germany last week, Vietnam struggled to acclimate in a friendly on the ground in New Zealand, losing 2-0 to the Football Ferns. Head coach My Duc Chung is a legend in Vietnam. At 72 years old, he is also the oldest coach at this year's World Cup. Making history out in Australia, New Zealand doesn't necessarily mean winning matches or getting out of the group. Just a single goal from the Vietnamese women's team would already be a hallmark for us, Chung told the Vietnamese media before flying out for the tournament. Player to watch. Arguably Vietnam's greatest player of all time, Huynh Nhu, has recovered from an injury to be ready for this historic World Cup. In 2022, the 31-year-old made history when she left Ho Chi Minh City and signed for Portuguese club Blanc FC Vila Verdance. By doing so, Nhu became the first ever Vietnamese women's soccer player to play abroad. With the Vietnamese traveling to New Zealand from the Northern Hemisphere summer into the Southern Hemisphere winter. Nhu lamented the weather playing a factor in their 2-0 friendly loss last week. Traveling from Hanoi, the team had to switch from temperatures of 88 to 44 degrees Fahrenheit. The No.9 wasn't her usual threatening attacking self in that match, and had to retreat deep to collect the ball from her frigid teammates. Hopefully, Nhu warms up to her new surroundings and makes history by scoring Vietnam's first ever World Cup goal. Who is most likely to advance from the group? The Netherlands are a great team, but I would still be shocked if the USA didn't top this group. This is not the same Dutch team that gave the United States trouble in Tokyo 2 years ago. If the USA don't make it out of this group, it would be one of the biggest shocks in the sport's history. Similarly, if Portugal or Vietnam leapfrogs Orange, that would be a big upset. The Southern Europeans will be the most likely to snatch second spot. The Asians will have a hell of a debut against the reigning champions and then hopefully dig in and get maybe a draw of the Portugal and Holland matches. Match schedule. United States vs. Vietnam, Friday, July 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Eden Park, Auckland. Netherlands vs. Portugal, Sunday, July 23rd, 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Dunedin Stadium, Dunedin. United States vs. Netherlands, Wednesday, July 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Wellington Regional Stadium, Wellington. Portugal vs Vietnam, Thursday, July 27, 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Waikato Stadium, Hamilton. Portugal vs United States, Wednesday, August 2, 3 a.m. Eastern Time, Eden Park, Auckland. Vietnam vs Netherlands, Wednesday, August 2, 3 a.m. Eastern Time, Dunedin Stadium, Dunedin. Thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.